Hey y'all, it's Alec with Sharing the Journey. Today we're going to talk about eBay. And can you really support yourself on the road while selling on eBay? We're going to look at that today. But if you've been watching us for a while, you know that Cindy and I have been living full-time in our Tiffin open road for the last 5.5 years, and we work camp our way across the country. One way we have tried to supplement our income is with eBay. So we currently have a small eBay store because we've gone back to South Carolina and we are closing out our storage unit that we've had since we've been on the road. And so we've pulled out items to sell on eBay. Prior to this, when we were assistant managers at a park in Minnesota for 18 months, we tried to build an eBay business so we didn't have to work camp anymore. So let's see what we sold this weekend, get it packaged up, and I'll tell you a little bit about our experience we had with trying to live off of eBay sales while traveling in a motorhome. So the first thing you'll notice is the space constraints that you have when you're trying to do an inventory-based business to supplement your RV lifestyle. So one thing we have to find storage for is all our packing supplies. We have bubble wrap, we have packing paper or stuffing paper, we have different size boxes, and we have a scale. Then we have to keep the items somewhere. I use plastic bins and I keep them around the edge of the bed. I went ahead and pulled them out so that we could get the stuff out that we sold over the weekend. And then we have a printer and a computer. So these are all just the basics that you need to do an eBay or an online business. So let me get my phone out, see what we sold, and we'll pull the items. Like I said, the items that we're selling this time are from our storage unit. So we don't really have anything in them because they're items that we used over the 14 years we were in our house in Eastover. When we were trying to do this in Minnesota, we had to go out and find places to get items at a price that we could make a profit. We did that through church sales, through Goodwill, and other type of places that sold donated items. And we did a lot of going to garage sales on Fridays and Saturdays and sometimes Sundays, and the occasional estate sale. The problem with doing that while you're moving from place to place is that some areas are better than others. You know, when we would go down towards the big cities, stuff was a lot more plentiful than in the types of areas that we usually stay in when we are work camping. So I have moved the bins up here to the bed. I pulled out my phone and we've sold 5 items. So let's dig in. Now I've got them listed as if they're in box 1 or box 2 because right now I'm just using 2 boxes. And let's see, we've got a coffee mug which is in box 2, which is right here. I'll show it to you when I pack it up, but it's a vintage Federal Express coffee mug, and we sold that for $9.50. Next thing we have is programming, window-based programming software, APK 135, which is used to program ham radios. Alright, here it is, APK 135. It's got the cable, the disc, and the directions, everything needed. So we sold that for $19.50. The next thing we've got is, I've got to pull out of here, is we've sold a school book right there, Consumer Math. We sold that for $15. And that was a couple years old that my children used. And now from bin 2, We sold this Browning CB desktop mic. It's vintage. Sold it for $99.99. And we sold this Kenwood ham radio desk mic for $125. So those are our 5 sales. So let's see, 225, 230, 240, 260, 269. About $269 worth of sales over the weekend. And like I said, we don't really have any additional cost in these because this is all stuff that we have just had stored in our storage locker. So let me move these up to the front of the house and we will start packing them away. All right, so the first thing that we sold was this Federal Express vintage coffee mug. So we're going to put that in a 6x6x6 box that I got from Walmart. The box was around $1.25 to purchase. So we're going to have probably $1.50 in packing supplies in this item. And then with the eBay fees and all that, it's going to end up costing us probably about $4 to sell this item. So out of the $9.50, we'll make $5.50. All right, so I got the all packed up. I wrapped the wrapped it in paper, and then I surrounded it by paper. I put a lot of paper in there. This weighs 1 pound 1 ounce. So let me print the label for it. So I went ahead and pulled up the order details on this order. So you can see I paid $9.50 for it. They paid $7.15 to ship it and 92 cents worth of sales tax for a total of $17.56. $17.56 minus the 92 cents. I paid a transaction fee of $2.73, $7.14 for the shipping label, and so the remaining was $6.77. Like I said, it was probably $1.50 worth of shipping supplies. So that puts us down to $5 and let's just say 25 cents profit. Now, if I was doing this like I was before as a business, then we would have had to have bought that, and we would have probably paid $1 to $1.50 for that at a consignment store or at a thrift store. So we would have made $3.50 for that. So you have to save, or you have to sell a lot of volume worth of stuff to make any money. So that's where the lack of storage comes in. We found the biggest hurdle was I had 8 bins hidden throughout the camper, some underneath, some under the bed, some around the bed. Plus I had large items in the loft of the barn that I was allowed to use to keep stuff up there. So I put bigger stuff up there. So it's very difficult to find enough room to store enough items to be able to make a living at it. There is Traveling Salvation, I believe. They live in a motorhome and they finance their trips through eBay sales. But it looks like they live in a relative's yard or something and their motorhome doesn't ever move. So anyway, let's get back to shipping. So the next item we have to ship is this programming software that I use for one of my ham radios. Now it will fit in a poly mailer, just a plastic bag. I bought them 100 of them on Amazon, I believe it was, and so they cost me about 10 cents a piece. And so it's a lot cheaper if something like this programming software, I just stick in there and tape it. So I'm making $1 more basically from being able to sell items that can go in a poly mailer. So that item sold for $19.95, and I wanted to show you something. it shows that after all my fees, I made $13.84. But see on this line here, ad fee general, $2.31. eBay has changed their business model to where if you do not promote your listings to a certain percentage, then your item barely gets seen. So what they have done is the normal transaction fee for that item was $3.80, but I've had to promote it because it sat in my store for over a week with 0 people looking at it. I went in, I promoted it. Within 2 days, I had 6 people look at it, and it sold. So eBay has started this additional fee promotion thing, and unless you've got a very unique item that is in high demand, they are basically forcing you to increase the amount of money you spend to have them sell it to be able to make any money. So out of $19.95, I made $13.84. And again, if I would have had to go buy that at a thrift store, it would have cost me $2 to $3 if I could find it, or a garage sale. So then I would have made $10. And that's not really bad money, considering that when you go to this, you hopefully bring home 20 items and then you list them and you sell them. But storage is the key, is having the storage for the items. So the next item that sold is this consumer math book. It too will fit in a poly mailer. So let me get it wrapped up. So on this consumer book, mathematics book, I also had to do a general ad fee. So out of the total $20 after taxes and everything, I made $10.06 of that. You know, a poly mailer is about a dime. So I roughly made $10 on that transaction. And homeschool books are a great thing to buy and sell because they're usually, homeschoolers take care of the books, and you can usually pick them up at garage sales pretty cheap. And if they're from a decent company like Abeka, then they usually sell pretty fast. Specialty equipment like the next 2 items are ham radio, desktop microphones, or CB radio microphones, and they're both a little bit older and vintage, and people are often looking for just the right piece to go to accent their radio room. Some of them don't even use them, they just put them out as displays in their radio room. So I would always pick up stuff like that at Goodwill or at any type of garage sale or estate sale that I come to. You're going to pay a little bit more for them, anywhere from $5 to $15 normally when I pick them up. And I'm not even sure where I got these from. I know the Kenwood one, that I used that on my ham radio in my desk, in my ham shack. But the one that, the Browning that I'm getting ready to do, I believe is an old CB radio desk mic. And I don't even remember where I got it from, but I don't think I paid more than $5 or $10 for it. So the problem with these big items is they take bigger boxes and a lot more packing material. But if you're buying them for under $10 and you're selling them for $100+, then that's where you can make your money. So the gentleman who bought this Browning 776 microphone emailed me or messaged me last night on the eBay app. And you never want to talk to people outside the eBay app. That's a good way to get thrown off the platform. Is he said that the mic is the best one he's seen in a while in this condition. And that's why I priced it at $125, and he sent me an offer for $99.99. Most of the ones had been selling between $50 and $75, but they weren't in this nice a shape. And so I went in and took the offer because all I care about right now is getting my storage unit emptied. But he said that it was in really nice condition, and for me to please put extra packing in it to keep it safe and secure during transit, because he's so excited about finally finding one. So as you can see, I've wrapped the head of the microphone up in bubble wrap. I put a good layer of paper underneath it. Now I'm going to put a bunch of paper on top to hold it secure. So this microphone was another one that I didn't get any hits on originally. So as you can see here, I paid a total order was $116.75. I had to pay an extra $10.97 in eBay fees to get it boosted so that it would end up selling. So out of a $99.99 sale, let's just say $100, I made $73.15, which is about a 27% expense. Plus, I put a lot of extra paper in there. I've used extra tape. I used an extra large box. So I'd say I've probably got $3 worth of packing materials. So basically $100 into $70. But again, I'm just selling stuff from my storage unit. We have one more item to pack. So on this one, I also had to do a promotion or promoted listing, and it cost me $10.85, and the transaction fee on this one was $19.07. So out of 140 total, I got to keep $95.08. So I think the biggest winner in all of this is eBay, the way they have got their small sellers kind of shoehorned into having to do promoted listings. A lot of biggers, I don't know, a lot of bigger sellers like, let's say, Commonwealth Kevin or ADH Dave. If you've ever watched any of their eBay stuff on YouTube, then they have like a huge store. This is what they do for a living. They've got hundreds and hundreds of items, probably thousands of items in their store. And so they have enough people who check their store and follow them that they probably don't have to do promoted listings like a smaller seller does. But still, you know, I got years of use out of those items. They've been sitting in a box in a storeroom, and now I'm converting them into cash. So if you're getting ready to go full time, I think that selling stuff on eBay is great. We kind of keep the eBay store open, even if we have stuff or don't have stuff. A basic store is $4.95 a month. If we're out shopping and I find a good deal on something, or somebody gives me something in the campground, or we get tired of something and we replace it or just don't use it anymore, I'll throw it up on eBay and we'll have luck selling it. If I would have had the time, we weren't so rushed, and the speed that we sold our home, I would have sold a lot of stuff 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when we were starting this process, than storing it and selling it now. So we're going to have to now drive the 2.5-3 miles to the post office and drop these off. So the post office can be a big expense with mileage and all that type of stuff. So I try to ship on Mondays and Thursdays. All my stuff is set up on 3-day shipping. So if it sells Friday, I've really got till Wednesday to ship it, but I try to ship it on Monday. Then if I sell it, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then I try to ship on Thursday. So it works out, you know, that shipping schedule. So I know I only have to do it twice a week. So we had 5 orders this week. We made several $100s. So I'm going to show you our overview. We have been selling for 2.5 weeks on eBay again. And you can see that my 31-day sales is $808. So if we use and that's not including shipping or anything. So if we use the roughly 25% rule, so what's 25% of 1,000 is $250. So I would say that well, here, I can figure it out real quick. let's say $808 minus 25% is $202. So I've made $600, $606 this month selling on eBay. That's going to help us immensely. So I think eBay is good for supplementing your income. If you keep 1 or 2 bins like I do back in the bedroom and keep stuff in it and price it reasonably, like that last microphone that I sold for $125, they were selling for $130 to $140. I placed mine for sale just a little bit under what the going price was, and then I promoted it, and it sold. I think I had it up there for a little over a week, so that's not bad. So let's go to the post office. All right, so we went to the seller's post office where I have been taking my packages to have them mailed, and I'd gotten a note on my eBay page saying that I had missed my shipping dates. And so I looked back at the receipts on eBay, and it was showing that the packages had not been scanned in. So until they're scanned in at the post office, even though you've bought your mailing label through eBay, until it's scanned in at the post office, it's not considered shipped. Well, the seller's post office employee told me that Sellers is such a small community that the post office does not provide them with scanners, so their stuff doesn't get scanned till it gets to Columbia at the main distribution center here in South Carolina. Well, that could take 2 days, depending on what time I took the packages there. So I drove to the next town over, so we're in the town of Latta, and Latta was able to scan the items in and give me a receipt. So it's important to know that if you do decide to sell on eBay, that you stay compliant with eBay's policies and rules and regulations. Because if you don't, then your items will either be unlisted or they'll kind of be put in the background and you won't have many sales because your rating will go down. So when we were in Minnesota and we sold on eBay for 1.5 years, trying to see if we could make it into a legitimate business to where we didn't have to work campgrounds and stay 4 to 6 months, where we could just kind of move at our own pace. Cindy has a much better eye at finding stuff that actually has true value. I'm good at finding stuff that I think is really cool, but
I don't know about that. I mean, you knew more about hats and mugs and, you know, I just look at stuff and go, oh, I like that, I think that's cool.
And then she'd scan it and go, oh my gosh, this purse is worth $80, and we would buy it. So I think during that 18 months that we were in Minnesota, I think we did eBay for about 15 months of that.
But a lot of their thrift stores didn't have very good stuff.
Yep. And so we'd have to go, we were in Royalton, and we'd have to go to St. Cloud or Sartell or somewhere to find decent stuff to sell. And so for us, because of the amount of stuff the volume you have to sell of garage sale stuff and thrift store stuff, that we found that we could not make a viable income selling out of our RV, because we would have 8 bins of stuff and it would only have a retail value of $1,400 or $1,500, which if we sold everything that was in the camper after all the eBay fees, we would only walk away with about $1,200. So I think if you're getting ready to go full-timing and you are looking for a way to maximize profit on stuff you already own, you can go through it like we've done this time and sell it on eBay. You know, we had a couple $100 items today, and
I mean, it's a good way if you find some unique and cool stuff to just make some extra money.
But the amount of time it takes to source, list, package, and ship based on the amount of profit you're going to make and the amount of volume, I don't think it really fits into the full-time RV life. I think it fits into the, hey, we're going on the road, we got to get rid of a bunch of crap. It fits into that kind of life. But now, if you had your spot and you were moving from a traditional house into an RV lot where you weren't moving and you could put a little storage shed in the back, then I think you could definitely make some money if you learn your community, you're there, and you're not moving a lot. For us, it was the amount of space we gave up in the camper plus the amount of time it took that's decided for us that this was not how we were going to finance our lifestyle. But we're enjoying now that we have this work camping job here that we're not getting paid for because we're only working 10 to 15 hours a week while we clean out our storage unit. It is a perfect way for us to supplement our savings while we're here. So I hope you found it informative. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Oh, one other thing you should do that we did when we were in Minnesota is we got all our friends and fellow campers to save boxes for us, so we didn't have the expense of $1, $1.25, $1.75 per box.
Because we all know everybody gets Amazon boxes.
Right, we had them save the shipping supplies, all the packing paper, bubble wrap, and all that kind of stuff because we had a place to store it because we were there for 18 months. So anyway, safe travels and thanks for watching.